G'day, it's Greg Newson, naturopath, herbalist and nutritionist from the Vitality and Wellness Centre, and welcome to our latest podcast in which we're going to discuss the gallbladder and its role in digestion. We'll look at the common signs and symptoms that can indicate poor gallbladder function, what can cause those signs and symptoms. We'll look at similar symptoms, so there's some symptoms that the gallbladder can display, but they can also be related to other conditions within the body. We'll look at the significance of gallbladder removal in relation to digestion. And of course, no podcast would be complete if we didn't dive into what wonderful treats and treasures Mother Nature has to keep our gallbladder healthy. Today's podcast is brought to you by NatraVital, supplements with absolute purity. No added chemicals or excipients to bind tablet ingredients together, make manufacturing cheaper, fill empty spaces in capsules or increase the volumes in powder. All their herbal blends are alcohol-free and all supplements contain no synthetic or semi-synthetic flavours, colourings or sweeteners, just pure active ingredients. So you can feel confident and comfortable in knowing that your supplements are as close to nature as possible. Check them out today. I was initially going to talk about the gallbladder when I spoke about the liver, but I thought it's just a very important organ all by itself, and it often gets lumbered in and lost when we talk about liver function. So it's got its own starring role in its own podcast. So the gallbladder, we've all heard of it, but what is it and what does it do? Well, it's a small pear-shaped organ that's located beneath the liver, and its primary function is to store and concentrate bile. Now, bile is a fluid, it's a digestive fluid that is produced by the liver, and the role of the bile is to break down and emulsify fats. So when we have a fatty meal, the liver secretes bile and it puts it into the intestines and it starts to break down that fat, so it can easily be absorbed by the small intestines. The bile that travels to the gallbladder, it just sits there until we have a really heavy meal. So while it's sitting there, a lot of the fluid is reabsorbed and the bile concentrates, making it a far more potent source of bile to break down fats. So think of it this way. If you've got a bowl of water and you put some oil on top, it just sits there on top and it doesn't really blend in with the water. Well, the same thing happens in our body when we have fats. So the bile comes along and it breaks that fat down to microscopic particles that are 100 millionths of a millimetre long or even smaller, and those particles then, once they're in the small intestines, they are absorbed through the villi that line the small intestines, little finger-like projections with little holes in them, and the fat goes in there and it goes directly to the liver, and the liver then processes it. The gallbladder also assists in the detoxification process because bile carries waste products, toxins and poisons and other substances including bilirubin and cholesterol from the liver into the intestines for excretion. So efficient bile flow is crucial for eliminating toxins from the body. The gallbladder also helps balance the pH in the small intestines. So bile, along with the bicarbonate that's secreted by the pancreas, helps neutralize stomach acids as they enter into the small intestines, creating a more alkaline environment which is more suitable for the digestive enzymes to do their job. Now, the pH is vital to prevent any acid damaging the small intestines, which can lead to ulcers, but it's also vital for nutrient absorption. The gallbladder also plays an important role in preventing the formation of gallstones. So if the gallbladder is working properly and it's releasing the concentrated bile when it should, when a fatty meal comes along, this actually prevents the formation of gallstones. But if the gallbladder isn't working efficiently and it's not secreting that concentrated bile properly, that bile then becomes overtly concentrated and the cholesterol or bilirubin can crystallize, leading to the formation of gallstones. Bile also has antimicrobial properties that can help to reduce the bacterial load in the intestines, which is essential for maintaining healthy gut bacteria and preventing any overgrowth of harmful organisms. Efficient bile flow can influence the metabolism and production of hormones, as many of the hormones are actually fat-soluble and rely on the proper digestion of fats for absorption. For example, our sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, are made from cholesterol. Traditional Chinese medicine takes the gallbladder function a little bit further and looks at the emotional and mental health. So in TCM medicine, the gallbladder is associated with decision-making, courageousness, and assertiveness. Now, imbalances in that can lead to timidity, indecision, and a lack of initiative. The gallbladder also influences the smooth flow of qi or vital energy throughout the body, particularly in the liver and gallbladder meridians. Now, these meridians run along the sides of the body and are crucial for promoting the proper processing of fluids and foods, ensuring a balanced diet, and overall energy flow. What are some common signs and symptoms of poor gallbladder function? Well, there's bloating, nausea, vomiting, pain in the upper right abdomen, so where your rib cage is, under your rib cage, or under your right shoulder blade. Indigestion, especially after fatty meals, so people can feel queasy, nauseous, unwell, just bleh after a fatty meal. Jaundice, that's the yellowing of the skin and the eyes. The stool can be fatty or greasy and quite foul smelling. You can be a lot of belching or burping or gas out the back end. There can be heartburn, reflux. Some people may suffer low energies, particularly after eating a meal, and that's because there's not enough digestive power to break the foods down. A person can also suffer a bitter taste in the mouth. Their throat can be dry, or their mouth can be dry as well. There's a dizziness, the insomnia or restlessness, especially between the hours of 11 and 1. If people wake between the hours of 11 and 1, that's the time on the body clock when the gallbladder is most active. And if people wake between those hours and have difficulty getting back to sleep, just staring at the sky, or the ceiling I should say, that just indicates that the gallbladder function isn't as healthy and as robust as it should be. A less enjoyable side effect of poor gallbladder function is pain that radiates around and underneath the right rib cage and can radiate out towards the back, especially under the right shoulder blade. So this type of pain is typically associated with gallbladder issues, especially after consuming a fatty meal. Now, the pain episodes can be intense and last for several hours. Another telltale sign is feeling nauseous or experiencing vomiting, especially after eating a fatty type meal. And if that's then combined with that pain that I just mentioned in the right rib and under the shoulder blade, it's a pretty good sign that the gallbladder is really struggling. And that's a pretty serious gallbladder problem. Another good indicator is that the urine becomes quite dark like tea, and the stools then usually become a light or a clay colour. And these changes occur due to the bilirubin's build up in the blood. Normally the bilirubin is mixed with the bile and excreted out through the faeces, which gives the faeces the brown colour. But when the bile ducts are blocked, that path of removal is taken away, so the body then puts the bilirubin into the urine, which gives the urine that dark brown colour. Sometimes these gallbladder symptoms can mimic other conditions in the body, and sometimes the other conditions can mimic gallbladder type problems, so it can be a little bit confusing. So how to distinguish between whether it's gallbladder problem or it's reflux? Well, the pain that's associated with reflux is generally in the centre of the chest and is often described as that heartburn, that burning feeling. And the pain often occurs after meals or when lying down. Then you also get that acid regurgitation that goes up the back of the throat. There can be a sour taste in the mouth, or there can be difficulty swallowing. Just to confuse everybody a little bit more, peptic ulcer, which is an ulcer in the stomach, can also feel like a gallbladder problem. So that pain is in the central upper abdomen, and it can improve or worsen after food intake. But the symptoms again are the burning pain in the stomach, the bloating. In severe cases, people can vomit blood or have black stools, which means an urgent trip to the hospital. Now, some people suffering irritable bowel syndrome can think that they have gallbladder conditions. So the pain with irritable bowel is generally in the lower abdomen, and it's often relieved by bowel motions. And there can be alternating constipation, diarrhea, bloating, or gas. Pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas, can also feel like a gallbladder problem, but the pain is in the upper abdomen and radiating out to the back. It's not over at the right rib cage, and the pain is constant and severe. There can be nausea, vomiting, fever. So if in doubt and you're concerned and you're not 100% sure, and you've got a lot of that pain under the right rib cage and the back and the nausea and the vomiting after fatty meals, get it checked out. Go get it checked out. There's lots of things that can be done, but we want to make sure that we're treating the right symptoms or the right problem. For those that have had their gallbladder removed due to severe gallbladder disease, after surgery, well, there's no gallbladder, so the bile flows directly from the liver into the small intestines. But that can lead to less efficient fat digestion and absorption, which means less essential vitamins and minerals and less essential fats for the body. Now, a lot of people can live without having a gallbladder and don't have any real health implications, except they may have a reduced ability to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins and the essential fats from their diet. But some people can suffer bile reflux, which means that the bile can flow back up into the stomach and the esophagus and then cause irritation or inflammation. Now, this can cause symptoms such as heartburn, nausea, vomiting, or upper abdominal pain. Some people can suffer diarrhea because bile is a natural laxative, and the continual flow into the intestines can lead to loose stools and chronic diarrhea, while others can suffer indigestion or bloating because of that inability to completely digest fats. Other people can have that fatty stool, which is that slimy, smelly, greasy stool because of the inability to absorb the fat. That can lead to weight loss and obviously the deficiency in the vitamins A, D, E, and K. Unfortunately, there is an increased risk of colon cancer. Some studies have suggested that long-term exposure to the bile in the colon can increase the risk of colon cancer. The changes in the bile flow can disrupt the balance of the gut bacteria, leading to an overgrowth of harmful organisms within the gut, and that's a condition called SIBO or dysbiosis. There is another condition called post-cholecystectomy syndrome, PCS, which is just a collection of symptoms that they don't really know. Well, that's just a collection of symptoms that arise from the gallbladder removal, and that can be abdominal pain, indigestion, nausea, diarrhea, and jaundice. In traditional Chinese medicine, removal of the gallbladder can affect the flow of the qi throughout the body. So that can impact the liver, especially the liver's qi, and then that can cause the liver to become stagnant, and that can manifest as irritability, anger, frustration, annoyance, mood swings, anxiety, depression, and it can also lead to digestive issues such as abdominal pain, bloating, flatulence, and just general poor digestion. Now the fun and exciting part of the podcast. What can Mother Nature do to help improve gallbladder function? There is a class of herbs called choleretics. Now, choleretics are herbs that stimulate the liver's ability to produce bile. And a great example of this type of herb is the humble dandelion. Dandelion helps the liver to stimulate the release of bile, as does barberry, globe artichoke, and turmeric. Another class of herb that is really important for gallbladder function are cologogues. Terrible name to pronounce, but those herbs actually stimulate the release of bile from the gallbladder. Top of the list as a cologogue is, you may have guessed it, dandelion and its cousin chicory, both very important herbs for gallbladder and liver function. To that list you can add globe artichoke that helps the liver produce bile and the gallbladder to secrete the bile. Another class of herb that helps benefit the gallbladder function are hepatoprotective herbs. These herbs protect and support the liver. Well, that's great, Greg, but what the hell does that got to do with the gallbladder? Well, since the liver and the gallbladder are closely interconnected, their roles in digestion and metabolism are closely linked. So improving liver function can have significant benefits on the gallbladder. They do this by enhancing bile production. So hepatoprotective herbs support the liver's ability to produce sufficient and high-quality bile, which benefits the gallbladder, digestion, and the liver. They also enhance and support detoxification, which is really important for the gallbladder because it helps to reduce that bile sludge and the formation of gallstones. Many hepatoprotective herbs also have anti-inflammatory effects, which help to lower inflammation in the liver and the gallbladder, which then benefits the production of bile and the health of the bile ducts and the bile tracts throughout the liver and gallbladder. Having a healthy liver improves the composition of the bile, which means that the bile contains the right amount of bile salts, cholesterol, and other ingredients, which then allows for a better absorption or breakdown of fats. The role of the hepatoprotective herbs, we're almost through them, but there is one more important thing that these herbs do, and that is that they help the liver to regulate cholesterol. And as we know, cholesterol is the precursor to bile salts, so the healthier the cholesterol, the healthier the regulation of the cholesterol, better the composition of the bile, the better flow the bile has through the biliary ducts, and there's less chance of cholesterol-based gallstones. Good examples of those herbs are St Mary's thistle or milk thistle, schizandra berries, and turmeric. Another class of herbs that can help when the gallbladder is quite inflamed and not healthy are anti-inflammatory herbs, and they reduce inflammation within the gallbladder and all the bile ducts as well. Examples of those are turmeric, ginger, white willow, dandelion, chamomile, and nettle leaf. Now, there are some other nutrients that help improve the function of the gallbladder. One of those is magnesium. So magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant. If the gallbladder itself or the bile ducts they've got little muscles in them, if those muscles go into spasm, which can cause pain and an inability of the gallbladder to release its bile effectively, which then builds up the sludge and the gallstones. Vitamin C is essential for bile production and liver detoxification. The amino acid taurine helps support the production of bile salts, and lecithin helps emulsify fats and improve the flow of bile. So what do I use in clinic to help improve gallbladder function? Well, my go-to supplement is Natravital Liver and GB Support, which contains a blend of choleretic, cholagogue, hepatoprotective and anti-inflammatory herbs that improve and enhance gallbladder function. If a person has poor liver function and elevated liver enzymes plus gallbladder issues, I will always use, along with liver and GB support, Natravital Liver Stress and Natravital Antioxidant Support, which are a blend of herbs that improve liver function and antioxidants that protect the liver from damage. If someone has had their gallbladder removed, it's always extremely important to make sure that the health of the liver is as good as it could be. And for that, I'll always use Natravital Liver Stress, which contains a blend of herbs that help stimulate the liver to produce high-quality bile. In conjunction with liver stress, I will always use Natravital Intestinal Maintain, which is a blend of 7 different types of fibres. And fibre is really important if you've lost your gallbladder, because the fibre will bind to the bile in the intestinal tract, in the colon, and prevent it from causing any damage or sitting around there too long, and will excrete it out of the body. If there's reduced flow of bile through the bile ducts or from the gallbladder due to spasming, I will combine Natravital Mag XL, either powders or capsules, which is a high potency magnesium, with Natravital Liver and GB Support. The Liver GB Support helps promote the release of bile from the liver and from the gallbladder. And if the bile ducts have gone into spasm, which means that they have closed, they've contracted a bit, I will put in the magnesium, because magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant, so it allows the muscles that surround the bile ducts to relax, and that allows the bile ducts to open and the bile to better pass through. If there is a reduction of bile flow, I'll also put in Natravital Liposomal C and D, which contains vitamin C, which is essential for bile production. The liposomal C and D also contains high amounts of sunflower lecithin. Now, the lecithin helps emulsify the fats and improves the flow of bile through the ducts and the gallbladder. If there's a lot of pain associated with the gallbladder, I will also look at using Natravital Inflammatory Support, and I could use that 10 ml 3 to 4 times a day to help reduce the inflammation and the pain within the gallbladder. So hopefully that's given you a greater understanding and appreciation for the function of the gallbladder, especially in relation to digestion. So thanks for listening, and until next time, this is Greg. Live life and laugh loud.